because my wife doesn't. And then when I get into her account, she'll be looking for something. I'll say, "Let me see." And I'm like, "Damn, well, but don't you ever clean out these folders?" Like, "Oh, I didn't know I had to." Like, yeah,
Oh yeah, it sucks up some stuff.
yeah, yeah, without a doubt. So now
Yep.
I guess maybe because I accounted to, um, when email first started, I got email accounts. A friend of mine at the college was in the IT area. They didn't even call it IT. It was called Academic Computer Service. And he was telling me, hey, you can get a free email account from Yahoo. So I got a Yahoo. I got a Hotmail. I got one of the, now I have like 5 email accounts.
Yeah, me too.
And, I just, from doing it from the beginning, I think you kind of learn it, it was like I learned how to use DOS, the computer language,
Hmm.
or we had Windows because I wasn't using a Mac or anything. I was using PCs, IBMs, and you had to know how to talk to it, and that was in using DOS,
Yep.
which is what Windows is obviously based on. It's just graphic based, but so once you
Yeah.
get to know the workings a little bit, you're a little more savvy in what to do. That's my theory, at least. I don't know.
Yep. Just keep playing with it. That's what I do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Play with it till I get it.
yeah. So talking about
So we're,
playing, what have you been doing with the bus? Any upgrades or getting things?
no, but I think I found out what was going on with my putter.
Okay.
I think it might be the fuel tank. Um, what do you call it? The vent, fuel tank vent.
All right.
So my old mechanic, I've been talking to him, and he says I sent him a list of everything that I did and what it was doing, and
I hope it wasn't freezing up like Lewis is, or disappearing. Let's see what happened. Now Lewis just froze.
all
Ah,
right, I'm back.
what happened? All right, we're
He
waiting
said
for you.
try taking your gas cap off and see if your hose or your vents clogged. So I
Right.
did that. It's not puttering, but I haven't took it on the road yet. So tomorrow I'm going to take it out
Okay.
and get it hot because that's when it usually happens when it gets hot.
Okay. Yeah,
So I'm
well,
going
that's
to
when the
take it and
vapor
I'm going to
would
get the oil changed
right.
and
That's
see
when the
what it
vapor
does.
would build. Yeah, and you
Mhm.
would you would get something like that. Yeah. Oh, that'd be
Yep.
nice.
So, oh man, God willing, that's it. I hope.
I mean, sometimes the evap code in a car is because of the gas cap, and once people latched onto that, I hear so many people say, "Oh, I got a PO 420 code. I'm just going to go change the gas cap." I was like, "Well, why? You don't know that it's that's yeah, I know, but that's what I saw on the internet. Like, all right, you know
Right.
what? It is the cheapest thing you're gonna do anyway, so you might as well go do that and then go from there."
Yeah. Then you got a new cap. So I got to do some research and see where the vent is. I might have to change the vent
Right.
out because I can't roll with the gas cap or the fuel tank cap off because man, that it'll it'll come out.
Well, a lot of times, yeah, the vent. I don't know. I have no idea what would be on a bus, but sometimes on the cars, it came right off the neck of the filler neck. Then in the 70s, they started bringing hoses and tubes back into the car. The Chevys did it on the Chevelles and all. Right behind the back seat, there was a canister, and it was just a vent slash vapor canister,
Oh yeah,
and that's where those fumes would go. So, but yeah, you got to see the bus is going to be different.
yeah, because the where you fill it just goes right into the tank. You can look into the tank.
Right.
There's
So there's
no
got to be
neck.
yeah, yeah. There would be a vent somewhere. Well, they had like my car is vented, so it had just a vented cap that went out to the atmosphere. But like I said, with emissions, they started recycling those fumes back through the fuel system. Sometimes it went back through the fuel pump.
Hmm.
There's all sorts of different strategies they used. So yeah, you got to get. You don't have a manual or something for the bus that you could, like a shop manual type thing.
It broke. Oh man, here we go. Man, I got my thing plugged up directly to the internet. It's still cutting in and out.
Is it? Yeah,
I don't know what else to do.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's. Do you?
Like I'm not even on Wi-Fi right now, but in the corner it's showing that I got one bar, but
Wow.
I'm not on Wi-Fi.
One bar isn't good.
Yeah, but I'm not on Wi-Fi, so it shouldn't be up there at all. I would think.
Well, yeah, actually, no. I think what it does because you have dual. Because I can look on my internet right now and it'll show me even though I'm hardwired, I'm on a hardwired connection, and it'll show me my network, with the
The
little
signal.
orange lines. Yeah. So because it showed me, I guess I have full internet.
Look, I took a picture of it.
Hang on, it's a little. It's kind of. That's a picture of you.
See at the top. Like that.
Yeah, it's too
That's
fuzzy.
too much light.
Yeah, it's not focusing. It's a little fuzzy.
Yeah, but it's showing 1 bar. Now it's 2 bars.
Wow.
I don't know, but I think that's on StreamYard side.
Oh yeah.
I think.
Well, let's see. I don't know if I can see it on this end on StreamYard. Let me see if there's. I don't private chat style media. No, I don't see anything on StreamYard here that's letting me see that.
I don't know.
People.
I emailed them and they told me to try a couple of different things, and I did all those, and it still throws me off on and off.
Yeah, I don't see anything under the settings. Yeah, I don't see that.
I got my new computer, and everything is.
Yeah,
everything they said I did. Yep.
Yeah, it's annoying to say the least.
Yeah, it is. Let's get the fellas in and see what they're talking about.
Sure.
What's up, Brian? Keith? Jim?
What's going on?
There they are.
Hey guys, how y'all doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, the crew.
Yeah, you're almost on.
Yeah. Brian's gonna go shooting. Throw lead at us. Watch.
Louis,
Uh-oh,
what
he's
internet service are you using?
Huh?
What internet service are you using, Louis?
Starlink.
Might be that.
Well, I had it hooked up to my my house internet too, and it does the same thing.
Oh, all right.
The
What's your house
one
internet?
is Spectrum.
Oh, okay. Should be good.
Yeah, I don't know what.
But Starlink is satellite, so you still have that wireless connection.
Yeah,
If a
that's
cloud
true.
gets between you and the satellite, it sometimes breaks up the signal.
Just like satellite TV. Yeah, I could always tell when the weather was coming in when I had satellite because I'd start getting pixelated.
Yep.
But yeah, I thought you were hardwired, Louis. I'm sorry. I thought you had a cable. Yeah, I'm on a cable. I'm on a cord. I like being on a cord.
Yeah, I am too. I had all kinds of issues trying to use the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
I'm like, screw this.
Right.
I ran a cable the length of the house out to the garage. And
I even ran a cable through the house into my den for my TV because when I watch, like YouTube, I want it to be on a hard line. I mean, the TV's a pretty good wireless, but I always prefer that hardwire connection.
Yeah.
So that's fun, Jim. I was up in your old neck of the woods. I had to go to College Point yesterday.
oh wow.
Literally on the border of Malba.
Oh, okay. Know exactly where you were.
Because
14th Avenue.
I was on 11th Avenue.
Okay.
I had to do, I forget what street I came in off of. 100 something. 132nd? Something like that. I don't remember. But it took me in the stupidest way. I mean, it took me up through on the BQE. But anyway, I had to do a test drive. And we made a right out of the shop. I said, all right, we'll go out of, I went up, there was a little kind of a triangular piece of the road. And then I saw this guy's car. I saw a red Olds, I don't know if it's a Cutlass or a 442 sitting there. I said, I know this car. I know where I am because I've been here before. I'm literally just 3 blocks out of, we're in Malba. Here we are. I'm like, holy shit, that's like, yeah, it's just on that verge. So now I know if I have to go to this place again, I'll come in through that way.
There you
I'll
go.
come in through the way I know. But yeah. And I told the girl today, I said, listen, I had to go out to Riverhead on Saturday.
Oh wow.
Well, I chose Saturday. They want me to go last week. And I said, you kidding me? It's like, with Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah.
I said, And I told her, I said, you realize I had to drive like an hour each way to do a half report. It was like, it almost didn't pay. It's like ridiculous. But she gave me extra mileage. I said, now going to, I said, going into Queens. I said, going to College Point. I said, it's not the mileage because they base it on anything under 25 miles is just the rate of the job. After that, they'll give you an additional. She's giving me an additional, even though it was less than 25. It's like 22 and a half miles.
Yeah.
It's not the 22 miles. It's the time it
Traffic.
takes me to do it. I was like, yeah, it could take me 2 hours to get there. Luckily, I waited till the morning till all the rush was over, and then bang, I zipped in. And so we got to get out of there. I took my buddy Mike. So we got to get out by 1 o'clock, and then sure enough, Cross Island was already,
too, but one's better.
yeah, the Cross Island was already getting crappy.
Oh, the Cross Island's always crappy.
I know.
Awful.
I know. Ridiculous. And for me, I would usually take the Northern State down to Meadowbrook and I'd be home, but I had to go back to Oceanside, so I had to come in from the west. So
Ray, are they keeping you pretty busy doing those cars?
well, it was really quiet for a while, and now, like I said, last week they called me for this new car out in Riverhead, and then 2 days later they sent me the other one up in College Point. I may not get another one for a month or two, 3. I don't know. It depends on who's buying. Really, that's what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I wouldn't even say that it's steady. It's it's very sporadic. You couldn't like set your clock by it or your bank account if that's what you were doing. I literally have that money go into a bank account that I don't use anymore. And it's just dump it in there, and then one day I'll look at the balance and say, "Oh, good, I can a bunch of money."
Car parts.
I'm forgetting about it. It's almost like another retirement account. It's like I'll just
Yeah.
because it's not a lot of money either. It's $100-something bucks each time, 130, 140, whatever. It's not, you're not getting rich off it.
So, guys, I don't know if you've seen, I got my new book that I wrote out.
No.
I saw it.
Yeah.
What?
I looked at it real quick.
Facebook.
Tell
On
us.
Facebook. I wrote a book about building a bus and traveling.
I think I did see something about that on Facebook. The problem, Lewis, is you put up a lot of stuff real fast, and it's like you can't keep up with you. It's like, it's like, oh man, everything's like, it's like overload for a minute there. So
Yeah.
it's easy to gloss over something. It really is. It's not, not intentional by any means. You post almost as much as Brian does. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Do what?
I said he posts almost as much as you do.
I don't post anything.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
I just wanted to see if you were awake.
Yeah, no, I'm awake.
When Brian posts something that's important.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or he's in jail.
Yeah. I've got a lot of stuff. I don't I can't get the fundamentals, or I get lost. I'm not very good at this stuff. I have a difficult.
I get distracted a lot. I got to post this thing. I go on my phone. I'm like, oh, I'll post it on Facebook. Then I'm like scrolling. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. What was I here for?
Well, for me, it's like you do it one time, and you're like, okay, and then you go back, and it's like the platform's changed or something's different, and you can't. And it's like I can't find where to download it to, and by the time you figure it all out, you're just like, F this, dude.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I do. I look at the things. So I look at X, I see what's new, and then I'll make my post, and then I copy it, and then I'll go over to Instagram and paste it, and then maybe change the words or change the tags or whatever. And from Instagram, it automatically posts to Facebook. So that's nice.
Yeah.
That makes it easy. But it's a matter of, I like to have it kind of like almost perfect, as perfect as I can get it. And there's a couple jobs I did on my own car, and I was going to put like the steering column work, but the pictures, when you look at the picture on the phone or a screen, it doesn't look like what you did. It's kind of hard to understand what it is. You knew what it was when you were looking at it, but now when you look at the picture, like what's the focus point here? I don't want to confuse people, or I don't want to put something up that people aren't going to look at.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
It's crazy, but
You gotta call AI and then put it up for you.
Don't get me started with that. You know, my daughter uses AI a lot through her job. Part of it was she had to really investigate it and then use it in her job. And we have arguments about this. I was like, hey, AI just had a kid hang himself last week. You know,
Yeah.
showed him how to make the knots better, and he uploaded the picture, and they told him how to. It was good, but how to make it even better. So, and next thing is, you know, mom finds him in the room. So
Yeah.
it's like, let's not go there, man. I'm like, it's getting, and I explained to her, like with AI now becomes a published source. So when other AI, you know, entities look for sources, it can find AI sources that now get used in their, you know,
Mhm.
write up. And if something was wrong, and we've all seen stuff that's wrong, now it's propagating it, and people are going to swear by it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like using the Encyclopedia Britannica. You know, so
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
there's been a lot of stuff I found lately with AI, and it's scary because,
Yeah.
you know, it is, or it's already started changing history.
Yeah.
And people,
Yeah.
especially the younger generation coming up in it, they have no other, you know, source. And I got in a little argument with my mom about this, but I mean, this started like 10 years ago in the school system, you know, not learning to write cursive, not how to read, you know, just alternative math stuff. You know, they started taking the fundamentals away and started changing. And now these kids now, man, they have no concept. They won't even know how to go into a library and use the decimal system. You know what I'm saying? Or to go look. And
a lot of people.
that's just the fundamentals of. That's just like giving change. The other day, you know, I went to the gas station and I overfilled, you know, like 17 cents, and you know this way they give me all money, you know, dollars back, and the lady gave me back my 17 cents and more money. You know what?
Wow.
You know, like, you know, of course you got a line out the door. People don't, you know.
Right.
And same thing, you know, was in a hardware store, gave the guy change. He's supposed to give me, you know, money back, and he had no concept.
Right.
So it's sad, but
I mean, usually that was a workaround because the cash registers told them what the change would be. All I had to do was count it out. Of course, they count it out to you backwards, not the way you would, you know, make it in your head, but at least you get the right amount. But yeah, I like that. You know, like there's a couple T-shirts I like you know, you want to hide something in plain sight, just write it in cursive. They won't know how to read it. You know?
yeah, can't read it.
You know, Millennium Anti-Theft Device is the stick shift. Like when I had to test drive this car, it was a Volvo, and the owner of the shop said to me, I don't know if he's Indian or Pakistani. He says, "Oh, you know how to drive stick shift?" I said, "Dude, I've been driving stick shift since I'm like 13 years old." He goes, "Oh, what was the first car you drove?" But what did he say to me? He said, I forget what he said it was. I'm like, no, it was a Volkswagen. I was in high school shop class, you know, it's like Volkswagen.
Yeah.
But
Right.
but
I was at a Dodge dealership looking at a Scat Pack because I had kicking around before the Big D, and the Dodge dealer near my house at the time had a 6-speed Scat Pack because that's what I wanted to stick. I didn't want the automatic.
Yeah.
And I walked up and you could see the rust on the rotors. And I asked the guy, I said, not a lot of people driving these things, are you? And he goes, you could leave the key in this thing with the windows down and it'll be here.
I looked at a dark horse. I looked at a 25. Was it 25? 24? Dark horse. And it was manual. And they had cut the price down to 62,000. They took 10,000 off. He said this thing's been sitting here forever.
yeah. You know, when I bought my Mazda back in 06, it was 05 when I ordered it. I ordered it because I ended up getting all the options on the car. The sunroof, the heated seats, but I wanted the 5, which was the base transmission. So I remember when I called to check on the, you know, they were gonna ship it over from Nagasaki, and the guy says, "Oh, you're the guy that bought the winning blue Mazda 3, the hatch." I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." He goes, "I was wondering who would order all the options on a car with the 5-speed." He says, "You're the only person that's ever done that." I was like, "Well, didn't want it with the automatic." He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I was hoping you wouldn't pick it up because I was going to take it." I'm like, "No, man, I want that car."
You know, it only takes 15, 20 minutes to learn to drive a stick. I don't understand. People are just lazy.
Yeah, but to learn to drive it well takes a little longer.
Yeah.
It really does.
What takes even more than that, Ray, is to learn to drive a straight or a, what do they call it, a crash box.
Oh yeah. Right. That's
a
a
crash box.
Then you know how to double clutch. Yeah.
I watched a video yesterday on one of the other channels I follow. The guy specializes in 2-stroke Detroit buses and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And the guy he had a couple of these 41, the old 40s and 50s, old GMC buses. And that's what he's running up through the gears, and looks not too bad. And then he kind of looked at the guy that was recording and filming everything as they're driving it out of the woods. He says, "Yeah, going down's another story."
Right.
And I was like, well, that's his biggest problem was he didn't realize in a straight cut transmission, you can shove that clutch in and do that all you want to. All you're doing is bumping the pressure off of the clutch assembly. That's all you're doing when you bump that clutch. So if you don't speed match it,
that's it.
Yeah.
RPMs.
Right.
Match your speed and your gear and all that, and it's
The only problem with trying to teach somebody to drive a stick today, it's too damn expensive to F up a clutch. It's not like the old days when they took a little bit of a beating. Today, they don't. There's no forgiving in a manual transmission today.
But Brian, one caveat is that the hydraulic clutches are softer.
True.
True.
Because,
they don't. There's not very forgiving.
Well, Brian, you and I know Ray and me and everybody up here has driven an old school manual linkage, and it's
That's how my cars are.
It's a little stiffer clutch than a hydraulic that's got that little bit of a cushion to it.
And I prefer. I was going to put a hydraulic clutch in my car. They wanted to sell me one with the transmission. I said no, I don't want that feel unless I could. Like I was trying to figure a way to like put, reduce the pressure to make it a stiff. But hydraulic is never going to give you that feel of a mechanical clutch. It's never going to be the same. So I went for the mechanical linkage. I said, you know what, I can tune this if I want to. And
going back to why I looked at the Scat Pack, I wanted to see how the clutch, what kind of a clutch engagement and reaction it had, and it was a typical kind of, to me, that marshmallow kind of feeling that it's typical of a hydraulic clutch.
I will say this: the later model Mustangs, like in the 2000s that I drove, even the one that I almost bought, that was a '97, they had very good feeling hydraulic clutches. I liked them. I could have lived with them. They were pretty linear. They weren't too soft. That was interesting because this Volvo that I had a test drive, it was a P1800. I got in the car. It was funny that the guy who brought it out and put it back in the shop he was short. He was maybe like 5'6". So he got in the car and all you saw was his head over the door frame. So we were joking about how small he looked in the car. So in the shop, I ended up going to go for a test drive. So I drove it out, and my buddy was outside the shop standing by my car. And as soon as I got in the car, I went whoop. I was like, the seat had no cushion to it at all. I was like on the floor. I couldn't adjust the seat. The tracks were frozen. So my legs were straight out in front of me. And I don't have long legs to begin with. There was no pedal on the gas pedal. It was just the rod. So the soft part of my shoe was going into the side. No throttle feel. I pushed the clutch in. It was hydraulic. And I come up. It was right off the floor. So, of course, boom, I stalled the car. He's like, "Oh, you'll have trouble. I'm having trouble." I'm like, "I'll get it." I said, "Who adjusted this clutch right off the floor?" He goes, "Oh no, I did. I prefer it that way because I find if you have the clutch too high, people tend to ride the clutch or smoke it." I'm like, "Wait a minute, it's a hydraulic clutch. how do you adjust it? But then when I had it on the lift, I saw there was a mechanical adjuster, so you actually could change it. But when I pull out of the shop, my buddy's standing there, and he looks at me. I felt like Cheech and Chong, because I just turned and all he saw was my head, and he was like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, "Dude, there's no seat in this car." It's like, no, it was the worst drive I ever had. But yeah, but it was okay after that. So yeah, you do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Well, good news is I finally got my truck back
Oh, very good.
2 weeks later.
How much longer do you have on the warranty?
The after treatment has got about 8,000 miles, and
If you want the real deal, you should switch to Tide. Really?
the powertrain warranty dies on September 10th or so. There's nothing I can do about it. That's,
Yeah, I know.
because they go by date of service when it went into service. And although I am looking at,
Can you do like extended warranties? Like you
yeah,
do
they
for
do.
cars?
They do have some companies that will do extended warranties on heavy duty equipment, stuff like that, trucks and delivery stuff
Yeah,
like
the
that.
one with iced tea. The one with iced tea.
Well, no,
That's those cars.
Yeah,
no, that's
car shield.
Yeah, it's only cars.
yeah. They have. Let's see. Give you an idea of the names. It's National Truck Protection or Premium 2000. They're actually kind of related, and then Truckmaster and Total 360 were the ones that the dealership said they were pretty good as far as honoring actual when stuff actually happened. They were actually pretty good companies about okay, get it fixed, get them back on the road, because that's like some of those warranty companies. Well, I give you an example. When I was a service writer at Toyota, I come in. I got to work one morning about 5:30, and there's a rollback dropping off a Paseo. What was it? A Paseo, which was the same thing as a Corolla. It just rebodied Corolla. So they drop it off. So I go ahead and I get the coffee on for the shop and all that. So I run out there and I grab my little thing and I'm writing down all the mileage and just getting the crap so I can get it in the system once we get things going. And I asked the tow truck driver. I kind of knew him. I said, "Any idea what happened?" He says, "No, it was a AAA call. It stopped running." Rocket scientist who bought this car took a picture of his girlfriend and put it in the dash cluster right over top of the temperature gauge.
Oh,
Drove this thing till it stopped.
I guess she was pretty hot, huh?
Yeah.
He fought with SET Southeastern Toyota, who was the regional manager for Toyota, here in Savannah, Jacksonville, and all that area, or was back when I did write service for them. He fought with them tooth and nail, and what had happened is thermostat hung.
Wow.
And he had extended warranty, and we showed him. It's like, dude, we're not trying to be jerks, but number one, you covered up the temperature gauge, so you had no clue the thing was running hot.
Right.
You drove it literally till it stopped on the interstate. And then once I took his copy of his warranty paperwork and scanned down and said, okay, these are the things that unfortunately they do not cover as part of the warranty. And guess what's on there? Thermostat. And I kind of circled it and I handed it up. Said, "Man, I'm not trying to be the bad guy, but this is your copy of your warranty paperwork."
Wow.
And that's what. And the mechanic they had was a fella that I would have Seabrook. This old fellow was named Seabrook Bryant, and he was a factory trained Toyota mechanic since 1968. So if Seabrook couldn't fix it, they ended up working out a deal with him, and Seabrook had enough parts and pieces to rebuild a little 1.6-liter Toyota. So he rebuilt the motor and thing, and never saw the taillights of that little car again once they got it running, and so you have to kind of watch those extended warranties, because what the big print giveth,
the small print taketh away. I love that line.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised
It's so true, though.
I'm kind of surprised the thermostat wouldn't be covered, though. I mean,
I was too, Ray. I was too, and I told the guy, I said, "Man, I'm not trying to be the bad guy, but like I said, I took his paperwork and showed it to him. I said, dude, I can't believe they're not covering it, but my hands are tied because
Right.
I'm just a service writer.
it's in print. It's in
warranty
print.
company that's not wanting to cover it."
Right. Wow. Almost sounds like as bad as sending in tools for returns from certain companies. Yeah, not all. Not all. Just saying. I heard things online. I read it.
You hear things.
Yeah. Not here, though. I didn't hear it.
So, Brian, how's your truck running?
Oh, boy. I wasn't going to ask that question, Lewis.
I'm sorry. Hey, take it back. So, Jim, how's things going at your house, Jim?
Pretty good this
Everything
week,
good?
Hollywood.
How to be better. Oh, jeez.
I tell you, man, when you grow up, man, life is hard.
Yeah, it can be. It can be.
You know, when I was a teenager, all I had to worry about is $5 for gas and get to the skating rink.
Oh, I tell you. Hey, you know what? When I bought a motorcycle and I found out, man, back then in the 70s, if I had like $1 or $2 in bills in my pocket and some change, I could fill that thing and ride all night. You know, it was like shit. Now it's like $20, like almost a tank. Like, yeah, things used to be good.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh man, I tell you, nutty.
Ray, what's that Sturgill Simpson song? Life is fair and the world is mean, or life ain't fair and the world is mean.
There you go. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's very true. You know, that stuff is always written from experience. Very true. Very true. Yeah.
So you see they're cracking down on those guys doing those street takeovers?
All over the place. Yeah. What have you seen?
Man, they're going to lock these guys up, man. They're hurting a lot of people.
They've been doing out here. It's crazy. Everywhere you go. Like I was in Queens, and like every intersection is just black circles. You know.
I don't understand, man. People don't get it. It's like something's missing in their brain.
Well, the problem is, and I think we've all seen it, it's not just that they're doing some burnouts. I mean, guys are hanging out of the car. They got cameras. People are getting hit with the cars.
Yeah.
I mean, people are, really getting hurt. So, it's just too much. It's too much.
Yep.
Everybody wants to be there. 15 minutes of fame.
Here in New York, they confiscate the car. They confiscate it, and they either auction them, or a lot of times they use them as undercover, as unmarked cars. What they do when they catch them with the bikes and the scooters and the ATVs, they always make a big deal in the city. They come up like with a payload and they just crush them. And they do it, they publicize it. But they just go get more. They get new ones. It's no big deal.
I think New Orleans, where they had a big thing down there in certain, what did they call it? New Orleans, Louisiana categorized its parishes. They don't have counties; it's parishes. And they had a bunch of parishes around New Orleans proper and all that. Same thing, street, guys with the bikes just ripping donuts and wheelies and burnout, donut burnouts at the fly, just acting crazy, just, lack of sense. Yeah. 4-wheelers, the whole 9 yards. And they used to just, they'd crush them. They'd bring them all the confiscated, and I mean, they'd come in with trailer loads of bikes, 4-wheel, and they would just sit there and they'd film it, and they'd just hit the sheriff's department. They'd sit there and they would dump them in there and they'd crush them and and going, these are all off the streets. They were, not licensed, just go through their little spiel, but they would just crush truckload after truckload of that stuff of those guys just acting crazy out there on the road.
That's what they do here too, in the city. They do it.
They should put them in those shredders. I'd watch that all day.
Yeah,
there.
Crush them. Yeah.
The shredder just.
Sure.
It's propaganda.
Camera on it.
It's not real. Don't worry, guys.
Yeah.
They're not. I'll keep silent, but it's not real.
Okay.
It's all AI.
Wow. So I did see something else in passing on the news today, and I saw it on the internet too. I saw it in 2 spots where somebody, and I don't know who, is proposing a bill that would prevent trans people from getting gun permits. And we were talking about that, and I said, boy, that's going to be a tough one because, I know here, New York is regulated out the ass. I mean, what we got to go through the checks that we go through, I'm clean because I got a gun permit. It's like between all the criminal and social and they get put you through well, we don't have a psychiatric evaluation, you have to sit for it, but they check psychiatric background if you have been in. Now I don't know if they could check medications and link it to anything. I mean, I don't have anything that they would red flag, so I don't know. So, and they don't tell you really what they're checking. They just say, it's extensive. And I know we're very high up there, more than other states. They would have to have a precedent to say that being trans is a condition like being a felon or like being on psychotropic medication. I don't know. I don't think they're going to get anywhere too far with it too fast. But
yeah, I don't think so either.
I just saw it out there, which is.
Well, to add to that, it's the DOJ who's looking at that, and they're going off the recent shooting in Colorado, and the way they're looking at it is, basically, if you're trans, there is certain things where that is considered a mental condition, and the way you get the drugs to switch over is you're treating a mental condition. It's like, well, if you have a mental condition, you shouldn't be getting a gun. But like you said, a lot of people are like, that's going to be a little tough to pass. So they're investigating. They're not going to do it yet.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. I mean, the drugs to transition are hormonal, but I mean, you could. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people would have maybe depression issues. Maybe they have medications. Those may be the ones that are red flagged. Like I said, I don't know because I'm not on them, so I wasn't red flagged. I was okayed. I'm also not trans.
You said the key word there, Ray. Red flag laws.
Well, that's another thing, but that's a whole nother ball of wax.
That's what lets the people who have no business looking into your personal background. If you're, that's that same reason is why a lot of military, which being where I live, and half of my family is all military. That's why a lot of the military guys that have issues that could benefit from talking to people, they won't, because if they get tagged in their files that they were seeing a shrink or they were taking drugs or for antidepressants, same thing, they'll go in there and they will pop them and they can't get this and they can't do it, and it's just, they're like, man, I'm not going to ruin my career because I needed to talk to somebody about stuff. And it's a damn shame because those guys and girls and women too,
they need it
from therapy and talking to, but
yeah, it's a double-edged sword.
Meantime, Colorado has a red flag law.
Okay.
A lot of good that did.
Well, it's just like all the school shootings. They always, what's the thing they always say? Where did they happen? Gun-free zones.
Right, exactly.
Where they knew they were going to encompass minimal resistance.
Yeah.
At my kid's school, there's a guard there. You pull in, he stops. If you're there after normal hours, he stops you. He's got a sidearm. He has 2 clips on the other side. Yeah. And he's like, "What are you doing here?" And he asks you all this stuff, and like, blah, 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 and okay. But yeah, if something happens, he's the guy that's he's right there.
School resource officer.
Yeah. It's a private school, so no, I guess they hire this guy.
Well, no, that's it, and like in Georgia and South Carolina and all that.
Yeah, and they have in public school
resource officer, but they are usually like a deputy sheriff or somebody like that. And they usually have a sidearm and stuff like that. And
then when there's trouble, they run the other way.
Well, a lot of these guys are retired or or off-duty police, so they're trained. They're the right people for the job.
Well, somebody had posted one time where had proposed, why don't you get some of these ex-military, ex-police officers that maybe don't mind donating some of their time and would be glad to go sit at the school and keep, like you said, keep things from getting sideways because, Brian, your head's broken. It's doing this number. Doing this number. I mean,
No. I'm sorry. You can't do that because we can't have a military state thing in a school. We can't have all this, and the school will. Don't worry, the school will handle this. So,
Brian, I can fix this for you. I can fix your whole problem in life, dude. Move the hell out of Maryland. Move the hell out of Maryland.
Yeah. That state.
Just pick up and move.
That's one way of doing it.
I'd love to.
I'll find. Ask Ray. I'll find you a place to live down here.
I'd love to, but I can't leave until I get my truck back.
Yeah.
That's all you're waiting on, right?
I did get word from my network, who is my highly trained network of security, that liability is the big issue with something like that.
We had the county police in our schools, and the PTA and the board. They all yelled and screamed, and they didn't want this, and they said, it's for whatever reason scary. And I got a buddy of mine. He's a cop. He worked the school system. They finally kicked him out of there, and within several months, they finally got a phone call back in because there was a kid in the school with a list and a machete.
Oh,
And when they finally got in there, and the county, the cops were like, well, what? He goes, well, we thought we could handle this. And it finally got to the point where we found this. And they knew about it. Again, like I said, it's such a fine line. And everybody, you got a handful of people saying the kid needs a kick in the ass and to straighten up. And then you have the other side, well, we can't do that. You can't touch, you can't do that. And these kids get away. It's just like these guys driving around doing all this shit in the car. Right now in our county, the speed camera company and the county are having a fight on who owes who money. So they turn the speed cameras off. So the cops are out in full force writing tickets. Now it matters because when it was on a camera, it didn't care. They paid their $40 because there was no points affected to you. There was no ramification. That's why all these people run around crazy, because there's no ramification. There's no problem. They get caught. So it's $40.
Two things, Brian. Most of the time, those people, like you're talking about, they come in there and they go, oh, well, we don't need police officers in the schools, and we have security. We don't need extra security. And we get this 9 out of 10 times, if they have kids, their kids don't go to public schools. Their kids aren't in the middle of all that shenanigans.
Well, like I said, it's the way it goes. And it's just like now they got, where was that? Where was it where those kids were knocking on doors in the middle of the night and got shot in the back?
Oh, the ditch, ring and run, yeah.
Ring and run, because that was down in, which, like I said, it's absolutely insane now. I don't even care about common sense or whatever. Everybody is so hyped up about either protecting themselves or protecting some bullshit stuff. And nobody, I don't know, dude. It's been a very fucked up last couple of weeks for me. So I really shouldn't talk. But
so you know what? Maybe you could help me with something car related. Maybe we could talk about cars.
Yeah.
What a concept.
I know. Yeah. I'm at the point where I started putting the carpet in my car. I hate doing automotive carpet because even though it's molded, it never really fits. Yeah. And it gives me fits. But I did find an interesting way.
You need a steam machine thing or whatever, right?
Yeah, I do have a steamer, but not a commercial one. They put a backing under it. They put a padding, and that really is what makes things difficult, is the padding. But what I did find, a way to get the seat studs, to make the holes in the carpet for the seat studs, and then for my dimmer switch on the floor, I have a set of gasket punches. They're round punches, and they're very sharp. So I did is I laid the carpet where I wanted it, and I felt the stud, on top. I felt the carpet on the stud, and you got to kind of guess a little bit. But I put the punch over it, and then just whacked it with a hammer, and it just went boop right down over the stud. Nice clean hole. So that's good. But it just never lays straight, and it always. Oh man, I hate fighting with it. I really do. But the color change is looking good. I think everybody who's seen it so far agrees. My wife and daughter agree that the color is nice. So
we got a heat gun, Ray?
Yeah, but like I said, the carpet, it's really not as much the carpet. Where they padded underneath is a real thick type of a fibery padding. And that can only move so much, and it kind of kinks it in places. I'm just hoping that I put the last carpet in the car, which is only a couple of years ago. Once the console and the seats are and everything, it kind of high. If there's a little bit of a ripple here or there, you don't really see it, but just annoying doing it. I don't know. I'd rather do engine work than put a carpet, even though it's clean. Guess I'd rather get dirty. I don't know. It says something, but I don't know what.
Yeah, you need to get one of those steamer things. I think you can rent one from Home Depot or whatever.
I will tell you this: the I had to buy an adapter with the iDidit column because it comes off with a straight bar connector, and the connector on my car is a half moon. So what they give you is the straight bar to a half moon, and I bought the one that had a pigtail that you got to give power to with another flasher. And what it does, it gives me 4-way flashers in a car that didn't have them, and they work. The only thing that doesn't work, and I don't know why, is when the 4-way flashers are on, the directional light doesn't flash.
On the dash.
Yeah. Well, I put the directionals on the directional light. See, my car only has one oval light for directionals. So whether it's left or right, it's just one light that flashes. That's the way Pontiac did it.
Really?
So, yeah, that's the way they did it. They didn't give you a right and a left. But I thought that would, the feed would get to that with the 4-ways on because it is the same lights. So if that's what I got to live with, that's no big deal. I got 4-ways where I never had them before, and I didn't have to do any extensive wiring. It was just through that. I guess they.
Did you ever run LED light bulbs in yours?
I have LED taillights. That was Lewis, our buddy out in California, who was doing that. What's his name? Who's not doing it anymore? Motorcycle stuff. I got him through this show. I used to have his thing up here.
I was going to have him do a set of taillights for me too, but he's not doing it anymore. So.
Right. So yeah, I have LED taillights, and I have an LED third brake light, but I am using a no-load flasher. So because I still have bulbs in the front, and yeah, the directionals work fine, and the brake lights work fine. So, I mean, if that's the only thing that I don't get, it's no big deal, because now I have stuff that I wouldn't have been able to get easier, but. So that was real nice, and that was only a $60 little harness there. That was an addendum to it, so that was nice.
Other than that, how's the column fit and finish all right, or?
I did it. I could have gone with Summit because they had their own line, and the Summit column was going to cost about $4 and change. The I Did It column cost me closer to $7. Yeah, it was $7, and maybe it was $6.90 something, and then with the other thing it was over $7. So I went with the I Did It. I said, you know what? Summit is probably obviously made by somebody else. Maybe it's made by I Did It. I don't know. Maybe they make, sometimes they sell, like the takeoffs, or they have some way of determining which ones they sell branded as not their own. And I decided to go with the branded one. I spent more money and went with the branded one. So, I mean, I've seen them in people's cars forever, and they always look great, and I've never heard a complaint. And I tell you, it went in nice. I had to use all the Borgans and stuff. We talked about that to make it fit to the box. But yeah, it fit right in the car. And
you didn't have any depth problem coming out of the flat firewall or anything like you did with the Mustang?
Oh no, thank God, no. No.
It was funny because later on, I was watching this other guy, and he put I Did It column in his Mustang, and it was too close to the firewall.
Uh-huh.
And actually, he had ordered the part instead of whatever it was. He had taken the part number, but he got it to work. But in his video, he did say that if he would have used this part number, he would have never had the clearance issue, or it would have been more right. So there was actually two different columns for the 65, 66 Mustang.
Okay. Well, in the 66 Mustang that I was working on, we kept the original column. It was the box and the adapter that changed. We had to cut the column. We had to cut the tube and cut the shaft, and then use the adapter on the shaft. And the thing that was weird about that was Borgson said in that application, the space between the column and the rag joint, and in that Mustang, that's way up by the firewall. My car, it's down lower than the A-frame. It had to be like 1/8 of an inch, no more than 1/8 of an inch. I was like, wow, that's close. You know,
I think that's the difference between a front steer and a rear steer. Because your A body's a front steer, and that Mustang would be a rear steer.
Yeah,
So,
I guess. Well, it was what. Yeah, they didn't give me. They wanted the end of that tube to be an 1/8 of an inch, no more or no less. They said, and I was like, they didn't say why, but you know, me who follows directions said, okay, we're going to be 1/8 of an inch, and you know, we were. So, yeah. So I don't know. I guess.
yeah.
And now, like I said, last time I saw the car, I see that the holes that the bolts go through on the rag joint were just ripped out, because when the owner was working on the dash, I had told him to get at the dash easier, to get behind it, unbolt the strap under the column, and then drop under the dash and drop the column down. Just drop it down. The steering wheel, take the steering wheel off and drop it. Now you can pull the dash assembly out. And Mike had told him the same thing. I think somewhere along the line, he thought someone told him to pull it out because he must have been yanking on the column or something. I don't know how he ripped that rag joint, but he did.
Wow.
He's a hell of a man if he ripped that rag joint in half.
I'm telling you, and it was
Thank
brand
you.
new. And it was brand new. So I don't know what he did. And I drove the car after I installed everything. I know it was working. So
Now yours still has the key in the dash, right?
the 60, that's the Mustang. That has the key in the dash, yeah.
Well, what year did your GTO?
My car's a key in the dash as well, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I know most of the iDidits that I've seen have that. You know, the GM stuff has got the key, key in the dash,
Okay, on the
but
column.
Right.
because
So you didn't switch that over. Your key's still on the dash. It's not in the column.
No, I left it. Yeah, I left it.
because I had kicked around putting a tilt wheel in my Chevelle, and same thing. I had a takeout out of another A body, and I ended up moving to Florida and just basically giving that that GM tilt column away, and so it's still, that car's still got a straight column in it, and we'll see if I change it to a tilt or not. I didn't. It would have been nice to have a tilt in that column, but I didn't need it.
Well, I did go tilt, and the reason I did was because when I test fit the new seat in the car, the way the track was fitting, and because they're bolster on the sides, I had a squeeze between the bolster of the seat and the steering wheel, and I don't have a huge steering wheel in the car either. And I said, "Oh my God, good thing I bought a tilt column. I hadn't put it in yet, so now I'll be able to tilt that column up and get in and out. It'll be a lot easier."
Yeah.
In retrospect, I should have bought the other seats they had one that was more of a flatter seat. I just, I don't know. It's in retrospect. Who knows?
You bought what you wanted.
What's done?
and-
Well,
and-
that was the thing, though.
And it looks good. The pictures that you posted, those seats look good in that car.
They do, but I didn't, I really didn't know what I wanted. You never know what you want until you have it. And then if you want it or you don't want it. And I got a feeling I might have been a little happier in the long run with the other ones, but I may never know. So, hey, you know what? If the tilt works and the seats are comfortable, which I'm sure they will be, I'll adapt and it'll be fine. No big deal. I've adapted to worse. So,
Right.
Supported seats, 5-speed, fuel injection. Look at you go, Ray.
EC.
Yeah.
Yeah. I shared a video this week with Brian. That guy, what's his name, Brian? The Ford guy, Knucklehead Garage. What the hell's his? What's his screen name? It's a Ford name. It's what does he call himself? He does all the Ford stuff.
Why did you do that? Now you threw that out on my head.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the guy he's a big Ford guy. I've seen him in the past doing carburetor stuff. He's a younger guy, and he did a video on he's got a Maverick, a 4-door Maverick that he bought.
Underhead 289.
That's him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an engineer out in the middle of nowhere, Iowa.
He's in Iowa, and he is an engineer. And I got to find out. He's got to be an electrical engineer or a computer engineer.
Yep.
Because he built a carb tuner, and that's
Yep.
what the video was about. And he was showing. It's funny because I was just working with my one buddy with the 454 Corvette, tuning his carburetor back and forth. Then I was helping my buddy on the 63 Lincoln tune the new Holly that he has on his car. And so, and they're not as into it as I've been. So I wanted to find them a video that kind of backed up what I was telling them. And I found that video. So he was talking about using the vacuum gauge. And I thought it was going to be all about vacuum gauge tuning, but lo and behold, it wasn't. What he developed is this carb tuning device. What's it called, Brian?
Carb tuner.
The carb tuner. Thank you,
That's what
Brian.
it's called. It's the carb tuner.
That's good. Brian sounds different, but he's not all the right answer.
Oh, this reminds me of an episode of MASH when Hot Lips talked and Frank just sat there the whole time, and they were like, "Hey, Frank, could you say something?" You know what I'm saying?
So he showed how to tune with vacuum adjustments, which was very in depth. And then he got into the carb tuner and he showed how, like, he even closed off. He didn't let you see the AFR. And then he drove the car, and then he had the tuner make its adjustment. And this is what I was banging off of Vince Brian. I understand how he gets his readings because it's an analog system and he's getting digital readings. So obviously you can get he has an O2 sensor, so you can get AFR readings off of that. And he has even the vacuum. I know how he can get a digital vacuum signal. He can get it off a map sensor and use an A to D converter. That's how a car does it. But the thing I still don't understand is he showed the car running with the parameters and the numbers that he had set, and then he engaged that carb tuner, and you could hear the engine change. And I'm like, what the hell is that thing doing? What's it changing? And that's what I'd like to know. So I wrote him and I asked him. So I'm going to see if I want to have him on the show. I'd like to get him on here too.
Is it called the carb cheater?
Yes.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, he's got one the other day because they've got an app for it for your phone, iOS or Android.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a video he had done a couple months back where they've got like a newer version, like a 2.0 that's got more parameters in it, more adjustability. And because he was talking about, because he had it in his car, and he goes, guys, just ignore the fact that the thing looks. He goes, this is the prototype. He goes, or the mule. He goes, this is what we're working on. So it's not the final product's not going to look like this, but it's how we're working all the bugs and making sure it does what we want it to do and all that. I've talked to him a couple times on one channel. He ended up with a tunnel ram big block 429 Torino, and he's like, I don't need another project. So I went back and forth with him a little on what he was like, purchased it, because he's like, he goes, I assume just sell it now before I get too deep into it, because he's got a bunch of projects and stuff with his wife is a veterinarian, so he's an interesting guy. I mean, and she's into farm tractors.
Oh,
he's he does a lot of stuff with farm tractors and all that, so he's an interesting dude he's a young guy.
Yeah, I guess he's about in his 30s.
The other problem is he's taller than Lewis.
Really?
He's like 6'7", like 6'8".
Okay, let's look that tall.
Because he'll have one jacked up, and he's like, man, I still keep banging my head on him, and my back kills me after hunching over working on him. And he goes, yeah. And he said on one of them, he's like, I'm like 6'7", and I was like, holy cow, no wonder.
Well, Vince, maybe you'll know. I noticed that in the video, that last video he had, it's a current video up on his site, and the car is a bit, it must really reflect his personality, because like some of the stuff is a little fugazi. Like under his left wiper arm, he's got a spoon zip tied with the rounded end facing the windshield. Like, what's he doing? Clearing sugar? I don't know what the hell that's all about. And like the inside, he's got a big hasp on the dashboard with like a number 3 Craftsman Phillips head screwdriver through the shackle, like holding the ashtray closed. I don't know. He's got
I think it's holding the glove box closed.
Something.
Because I have seen one with the big screwdriver there,
but I mean the car is filthy. The tack, you couldn't even almost see the numbers on the tack because of the dust on it. So he's a quirky guy.
He has said before that that's his work beater. He goes, we use it as a test mule and my primary work beater if it's not snowing. He goes, if it's snowing, he's got an older F-250. Yeah. He goes, if it's snowing, I'll take one of the trucks or something. He goes, this is just my work beater. He goes, I just get in and go to work. And he said he actually had an issue a couple months back where he went to the store, filled it up, goes, oh, I'm gonna treat it right. I'm gonna put premium in it. Come to find out, they had ended up with a half load of diesel in the premium.
Oh wow!
So he's like, this thing. He goes, I'm ready to kill this thing. It's running like, and then because he pulled something out. He pulled something out of the carburetor and poured it, and I immediately went, that's diesel, because I know I'm around diesel enough. I knew exactly what it was as soon as he poured it out. I went, that thing's full of diesel. That's why it's running like crap. And he says the store ended up, because he went up there and he went, yeah, we're kind of familiar with who got, because of the cameras and stuff. They're like, we kind of know who is affected, and we're working with them about, any repairs and trying to make it good. And again, it's small town Iowa. They're just trying to make it right because it was their mess up that ended up with a half load of diesel in the gas tank. So
I was in a shop and the guy goes, hey, Brian, come here. He goes, I don't know, but is this water in the gas? That's what he says. And he's got the fuel pump out and he's looking down in the tank and he's like, is that, I don't know is that water in the gas? And I said, no, it's probably diesel. And I said, water usually has a bubble in it, because it's, it's heavier and it will sit at the bottom. And he goes, well, how's that? I said, well, where's a piece of paper?
Smell.
And I said, well, it smell. But so I said, here, took a piece of paper, white paper, stuck it down in there and pulled it out and let it dry. And it had an oil sheen to it.
Uh-huh.
And I said, there's your diesel, on there. And that was fairly, it's fairly, again, we go back to, people aren't being taught just basic stuff. They're, this guy was all, running around for a couple of days trying to figure out why the car didn't run, So, but yeah, it sucks when I'm so afraid that I'm going to do that to one of my daughter's cars. I'm always pumping diesel. And I will actually, when I go to the gas station where I get the diesel fuel, I actually go to a different pump so that doesn't have diesel, so I don't make that mistake because I know.
I almost did it. I almost did it a couple of days ago. I was talking to my wife and I grabbed the wrong pump, and it wouldn't go into the hole because it was fatter. If it wasn't for that being fatter, I would have put diesel in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, that 12
up here, the BP or the energy stations, they have the diesels have the small holes. They don't have the big hole. And so you could put a diesel in there in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
To me, 1202 and 1203 do not smell the same. I mean, it's immediate. I can, smell a diesel.
Yeah, well, like I said, when you're around it, you can people,
Yeah, I mean, you're right, Brian. Like I said, those who are not used to it, like I said, it's, again, talking back to the video, as soon as he, because he like drained the carburetor and he showed the cup, and I was like, dude, it had that greenish tint to it and all that. And I went, dude, that's diesel. That is diesel, just point blank. And when you're around it all the time.
So just to
All right,
jump
guys,
back.
time for me to get out of here.
All right, Jim.
All right, Jim.
Okay, guys, see you next week.
Okay.
All righty.
So just to jump back, do you know what type of an engineer? I think his name is Luke.
Yes.
Do you know what type of engineer he is, or has he even said it?
I think he said one time that he was an electrical engineer, but I don't quote me, but I just in one of the videos earlier, he did say something about being an engineer and working at the place that he worked at, and that the carb cheater was kind of a side project between him and another guy.
I had heard the
and
same
they kind of
thing,
hatched that idea, and then
right. Yeah, I kind of heard the same thing. There's also a guy I watch out in California. I forget his screen name too, but he caught my eye about a year ago because he did I was looking at all the Holly Sniper videos at the time, and he had one where he was going to compare the Sniper and the Phytech. I said, "Oh, okay, good." And he had two vehicles. He's got a mid-60s Mustang with the Sniper on it, but it's a 6-cylinder of all things. It's a pretty hot 6 too, by the way. And he's got a GMC pickup, or maybe it's a Chevy pickup. I'm not even, that square body style with a big block, and that has the Phytech on it. And he went through the pros and cons of each. So, and he's another guy who's an engineer. He does a lot of audio work and repair, and he's definitely another electrical engineer. So I like watching those guys because you're going to get a real explanation. Yeah. And even if you don't understand what they're talking about, you can look into it, and you have the right basis instead of just this works, this doesn't work, this sucks, don't buy that. So that's why I like dealing with guys like that. But
yeah, he that Luke, he same like that one that it was the one video that I had seen. He ended up at like a farm auction, and they had like a lot of 2 tractors, old center steer. It was a couple center steers, which Dad love them, hate them. I mean, they'll work, but if you're not careful, you'll end up on your dome because that you have to just watch what you're doing when you're running a tractor, anyways.
Yeah.
And he basically even said, he goes, "I had no business buying these things." He says, "I bought like both of them for like $300, $400 for 2 track." He goes, "Dude, they're worth that scrap." Yeah. So he's like, "I bought them," and then he goes, "If they didn't run, I would just scrap them." But hell, he got them both running. Right, sold one of them and then kept the one, and then his wife kind of took it because he goes, "My wife, the vet, likes to get out there and cut hay in fields and stuff like that." She goes, she's into that. I said, "Well, that's cool."
Wow. Keith, what do you do for carburation on your Buick?
It has a LS motor in it.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
It's all fuel injection.
Well, it could be an LS with carburation.
Yeah, it could. Yeah. No, it took it right out of some pickup truck.
Got it.
And put it in there. It's 5.3.
Okay.
I do have I have my 75. What, the Buick?
Yeah.
No, it's a 53 Super. My Hurst Olds, that has a carburetor on it. That I don't remember. It has some Holly on it.
I went and looked at a 66 GTO last week with a friend. Kind of interesting because it was a convertible, and it was a bucket seat car, but column shift, no console. So a little bit of an oddball. The guy sprung for the buckets, but not the floor shift. So, it made it on a convertible. So, but in the garage, the guy had a 1950 Oldsmobile, like in a jade green color with a tan top, and it was all original. I mean, he started it. He was cranking it. You know how a 1950s car sounds when you're cranking it there. And it took a while because the gas was, I guess, the ethanol evaporated. But it fired, ticked for about 4 seconds, and just went silent. I'm like, man, that thing runs like a sewing machine. Yeah. I was like, God, I just want to drop that top and drive it down on Ocean Parkway. Yeah, what a nice ride that would be.
So that GTO has bucket seats and there's nothing in the middle? There's no console or anything?
No console at all, just tunnel. Yeah, it's a column shift automatic.
That seems weird. Yeah. Okay.
So, I knew this from the past that, the base transmission was a 3-speed manual on the floor, not on the column.
Yeah.
If you went for the automatic transmission, which then was still a 2-speed, it was on the column. So you got a bench seat with a column shift, even in a GTO, which not many people ever did at all.
Right.
You could also get an F-body like that. I worked on a Camaro that was a bench seat car. And I've seen a Firebird that's a bench seat. But this guy he went for the option of the bucket seats, but that didn't automatically give him a console. The console was another line item, and that moved the shifter to the floor, and you got the console with it. You couldn't get an automatic shifter on a floor without a console. You could get a standard transmission shifter on the floor without a console, though. Go figure that one. I don't know why, because it's actually the same console.
Right.
Just a different plate for the shifter.
Different plate for it, yeah.
So it was ordered. Like I said, it was the convertible was the main option. And there were really no other. I mean, it had power steering, power brakes, no power windows, no AC. So really, the only options were the steering brakes. It's a drum brake car. I don't know what the original wheels are, if it was wheel covers or the rally wheels, because it already had Rally 2s on it, which was incorrect for that year.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, he didn't buy it. He was looking to maybe make a swap. It needed a lot of refreshing.
Yeah.
How
much did he want for the olds?
He said he threw out 25 at me. So, seeing that's a car that's not going to move.
Yeah.
And now this guy's a flipper, and I knew of him through another friend of mine. The guy I went with, and the other friend, and this guy were all city cops. They were all, brass lieutenants or higher. And actually, no, Cliff wasn't higher, but so they all knew each other from the job. And my one buddy was telling me this guy has a reputation as he's a flipper. He says he'll go to a car show with like 20, 30, 40 grand in his pocket. And if he wants to buy a car, he'll make you an offer on the spot. I was like, dude, I'd be so leery. I would never sell a guy a car on the spot because he has cash in his pocket. How fugazi could that be, right?
Yeah.
But I guess a certain amount of people do sell. And, the story is he just flips. He doesn't clean the windshields. He doesn't empty the ashtrays. He literally takes them, turns them around, and resells them for a profit. So knowing he's working on a profit margin on everything, I'm sure, everything can be worked on. I don't know how he is for negotiating, though. But, I mean, that Olds for under 20 would be if you like that kind of car, would be a sweet deal.
Yep.
So it was obviously original and well cared for, and in a family, and it was taken care of. But it's not for everybody.
Yep.
There's a new guy I've been watching on YouTube. It's Hoosier, not Hoosier. What is it? Hoosier Garage. He's out in
Hoosier Garage.
Indianapolis.
That's funny.
Indianapolis, I think. And he's doing a 340 or a Dodge Duster. And it's funny because in his show or in his thing, he goes to a commercial. He puts in a vintage commercial from the state. So it'll be like the state, car, a car dealership or furniture or whatever. And then he always has like the radio call, Q95 and whatever. It's just a really interesting layout of his. He's in the middle of building a car dolly for his Duster at the moment. But it's a good watch. And like I said, he said he was some heavy duty welder. I don't know. Like I said, you get bits and pieces. But like I said, he's fairly interesting. Again, it's just seeing so many different types of platforms with the YouTube stuff. I just think it's kind of funny watches. Some of them get kind of boring, I guess. I don't know if that's really the right word, but
so we just had Kenny Wessel on the show Sunday, Wrenching with Kenny. And he's got 1,001 stories from the past and from current. And he just broke a video today. He said, you never believe this. He goes, we get a call at the shop. The guy says he wants to bring in his older Chevy pickup. I think it was like a late 90s pickup. And he believes he needs a rear end. He thinks he blew the rear end up. So I guess somehow along the line they got his name. He called him John Doe. So when the guy, he goes, I'm at the shop, a tow truck pulls in with a 90s pickup on it, and figured, okay, here it is. So the guy walks up. He says, it was an older guy, older than him. Kenny's in his 50s. And Kenny addresses him as John, as in John Doe. And the guy goes, oh, you call me Mr. Doe. What's the matter with you kids saying? These kids today, no one has any respect. Going off on him. And Kenny's like, kid? Me? I'm like, I'm in my 50s. Like, what the fuck? Yeah. So he's okay, Mr. Doe. Like, all right, sorry. I apologize. What's the problem? Maybe the guy's got a, complex. So he says, okay, I want you to check it out. It needs a rear end. And there's a couple other things that he said he wanted addressed. And Kenny says, all right, listen, we'll call you with an estimate. No, I just want it fixed. I just want you to do it. He goes, no. We're going to call you with an estimate first. That's the way we do it. And this went back and forth a couple times. It says, we will call you and then you'll okay it. And then we'll talk about, the rest. So the truck needed some other work. They found a junkyard rear end for it. And it was going to be like $2,300. So on the phone, the guy tells Kenny, he says, listen, he goes, $2,300, that's a little more than I want to spend. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'll come down, I'll give you $1,000 in cash. He goes, and I'll give you $100 a week to pay off the balance. Kenny says, what? He goes, hold on a second, please. He tells his boss, he goes, listen, this is what's going on. Boss, give me the phone. So he picks it up. He says to the guy, yeah, hi, this is so-and-so, I'm the owner. And could you please repeat what you just told Kenny to me so I'm clear? And the guy says, yeah, got my truck. I'm going to give you $1,000. I'm going to give you $100 a week till it's paid off. So the guy says, well, that's not going to work. Why not? He says, we don't extend credit to anybody who we don't know on a first name basis. I up on him and came and took the truck. Of course, he says, we let him take the truck after he paid us the diagnostic fee. He goes, so that guy's not going to be happy, but you can't make that crop up. Yeah, it's like people.
The other funny thing is that was the same guy that said, just fix it. I don't care what it costs.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. You don't have the money. You don't have the money for it.
And he said, I got to have it fixed at all. I got to have it. I need the truck. So whatever it is. Right.
Yeah.
I was in the shop today. And the guy sitting there told the guy to fix it. And it was the same thing. It was X amount of money. And the guy showed up and he's in there. And the owner, the service writer or the guy running the counter went back. And I was talking to the owner in the back in his office. And he's like, remember so-and-so? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, well, he wants to negotiate his payment now. And he's like, no, we don't negotiate. He goes, I told him how much he said to fix it. He knew. And he goes, hold on, Brian. Went up there and the guy's like, yeah, here's, 500 cash. You can run $250 on my card and, make a pay. It was every 2 weeks because that's when he got paid. And he's like, okay, well, and when you get your car, when it's paid off, you can come get the car.
Come get the car.
Yeah, right.
And the guy's like, well, I need the car to work. And he goes, dude, it's amazing. Like I said, it's amazing what people.
And then
mentality.
It's actually fair to say, and there's going to be storage fees too.
Yeah.
The damn thing, Yeah.
And like I said, it's I argue all day long with people because I'm like I said, I said I tell them, what can you afford a week? And this is your payment a week. This is our agreement, and it starts out that way. And by the third week, it's like I got to skip. I got to catch up on my other bills. I can't do this. I'll double up next week. And I'm like, dude, like I said, it's a shitty situation. Pay your fucking bills, but I'll quiet up. So,
Brian, I got people that want to buy my international like that. I give you $2,000 and then I'll take the truck and then I'll give it. It's like, no. Once it's paid for, then you can have it.
I was going to do the same thing, Vince. I was going to tell you I can, 50 down and 50 a week. How's that sound?
What a bargain.
It sounds like an
and
old
one lunch.
What it sounds like. $50 down, $50 a week for 50 years.
Yeah, that's it, baby.
Right.
Put a box on the back of that so I could drive it around.
Yeah, you could haul some.
You know, that must work for some people because if people do it so regular, it must work somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I worked. This was. I can't. I don't know exactly. Well, This is where I first started turning wrenches. This was many moons ago, and the guy I worked for, great guy. Like I said, learned a lot. Loved the guy, but he would be that way. A guy would come in and say, I can only pay you this. I'll pay you the rest. And this was 40 years ago, dude. We had a stack of ROs that he either got partial payment or very little payment. And the thing of it is, these people had the balls to come back and want more work. And he did it. He was just a nice guy. And, and the problem is, I'm very generous with my money too. I'm a nice guy, and it gets to a point where you get upset, then you're an asshole. So,
right.
And he was the same way. So,
I had a situation like that with my first tractor, and I had developed a rapport with the shop that worked on my truck, and I forget what it was. If it wasn't a clutch, but it was a build. It wasn't. I think it was something with the front end. And it wasn't going to be like $100 or $200. This was a couple $1,000s. And I about had it in my mind how I could rob Peter to pay Paul and to get the truck. And like I said, this is after I had been using these guys for well over a year and a half or so, and never asked for a break. If they said it's $500, okay. They said I paid it. I developed a rapport with them, and it got to where they would extend me, hey, we know things are tight in the business. If you need a little room, we can do this. And that's like, okay, if you're willing to do that. But and by God, if I owed them X number of dollars in certain days, everybody can hold, they got paid.
Yeah.
Because I knew that shop did not have to extend me any kind of courtesies. Every shop I've ever been in has always had that sign, when repairs are done, payment is expected, period.
Yep.
And like you said, it kills me that people can look at that and go, hey, can I give you like a third of that and then piecemeal the rest of it for another 6 months?
The best story that'll follow me the rest of my life is Brian have to chasing guys because they owe fucking, food money, fucking, goddamn beef jerky money.
Beef jerky.
That's the best.
Yep.
That's the best, man.
The other one, the one that I like, and we used to do. I didn't do it that much because I always had, they would have a promo or promotional where you make the first payment. So basically, you would take whatever tool it was, and you would tape a $50 bill inside the packaging, and you say, you buy this, we'll put this on your account, and the 50 is supposed to pay, you're supposed to make your first payment, $50.
Right.
Well, it got to the point where guys would take it and they would want 30 back. You know what I'm saying? They were getting, So one day I had this guy, never saw him in my life, never saw him. I'm at the gas station, and he's like, hey man, what's going on? And I'm like, not much. And he's like, can I look on the truck? And I'm like, okay. Never seen the guy. Have no idea. Don't even know who he is. And I'm like, okay. So we get on. He goes, so what kind of promotions you got? You got any free money? He wanted to buy something so that he can get money. He was never going to pay me.
No.
He just wanted the money.
Right.
That's how fucked up people are with this.
Word must have got out. Yeah.
Well, yeah, he was probably a mechanic. He was worked at a shop and whatever, and had that happen. And like I said, you'd be surprised on how many strangers come up to the truck all the time. So, like I said, but it's funny. What are you giving away for free? That's another one.
Advice.
Yeah.
So,
And it's bad.
yeah, I stopped selling because I have guys still to this day. Man, I'm hungry. What do you got? Put it on my account. Put it on my account. I said,
So look, I'll sell you my my peanut butter sandwich I got from lunch. I'll sell you that.
the tuna fish sandwich has been sitting out all day. Here you go.
Did that guy ever pay you for how many sunglasses did he lose? 3 pair of sunglasses?
Oh, I'm still dealing with them.
God.
Sounds like he needs a tune-up.
He wanted to buy another pair. I told him I couldn't do it.
Costco, they're cheaper there.
I wish we used to have they were cheaper, but I wish they came back with those because you could hand them out. And they didn't cost you that much. Here you go. Need a pair of sunglasses? Here you go, dude.
The ZZ Top specials?
Yeah. Yep.
Cheap sunglasses.
Yep. Yeah. So I thought I had a pair down here. But yeah, I told him sorry. He was actually, it was last week, the week before, because he was going on vacation. He's like, "You got any sunglasses?" And I'm like, "No." So I said, "I don't have my truck, so I can't get in."
So the guy that does Den of Tools out in where the hell is he? Wisconsin? No, not Wisconsin.
Who is it, Ray?
Den of Tools.
Oh, Den of Tools.
Big guy.
I don't know that one.
Yeah. He does a lot of Harbor Freight stuff. He goes in and he'll always show you what the sale flyer is.
Oh, he used to be a bear.
Yeah, that's his thing, is a bear, right? That's the guy. So he just did what he always does, when Harbor Freight has a sale, he goes through the flyer and or he talks about the 10 tools you should buy, the 10 you shouldn't buy, blah, blah, blah. And he's got some good insight. He's got a line into Harbor Freight, actually. He talks to them. They actually talk to him. And he did a recent video where he, was talking about dispelling myths about Harbor Freight. And he kind of was working around the whole tool truck thing without really talking about it, but he was getting close. So I don't know if he has any information or not, but
they're out there.
Are they? Okay. In any specific areas, or?
But I don't know anything about. We're still live. We can't. I can't talk when we're live.
Well, but that's it. I mean, listen. I'm not saying if that's public information. I mean, it's public information. All
right, I'll shut down for you, Brian. Okay, everybody.
Talk. I get in trouble. I get in trouble when I talk.
All right, everybody. We're going to shut the show down so Brian can kick out his knowledge. We appreciate everybody coming on and everybody in the chat. We do this every Thursday night at 9:00 Eastern time. So tell all your people, and keep checking in on our website too, because we got stuff going on over there. Different celebrities, and you can go back and watch some old videos. All right, peace.
Hold on.